Okay, this week is PARSHA Beshalach, and this PARSHA has a tremendous amount of yesodis, fundamentals, and important concepts that come out of it that are extremely important for understanding the purpose of the Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people. We're supposed to be accomplishing, we're supposed to be achieving as a people, and a lot of ideas as to why we're still in exile to this very day. We've spoken in the past about the fact that the Shir Shayam has an allusion to Eov, the story of Eov, because Eov was the scapegoat for the Jewish people by the Yam Suf, because measure for measure, when he was with Pharaoh, he was one of the three people that Pharaoh consulted in terms of trying to decide whether or not to drown the Jewish children, how to deal with the Jewish people, and one of them was Bilam, who said to kill the Jewish people, and one of them was Yisro, who ran away and merited to become the father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu because as a result of that. And the third was Eov, who Gemara says remained quiet and didn't speak up on behalf of the Jewish people. So because he wasn't a vehicle for the Jewish people at the time he could have been back in Pharaoh's court, measure for measure, he became that which Hashem used to pull the Satan, the Sitra Achra, from the Jewish people by the Yam Suf, because the Medrash says that at the time the Jewish people stood by the sea, that the Midas Adin was arguing the fact that the Jewish people were involved in Avodah Zarah just like the Egyptians were, and therefore either you save both the Egyptians and the Jewish people, or you drown both the Jewish people and the Egyptians. As Rashi points out, it was a time of din. That's why it says Matitzach Alai. Why are you praying, calling out to me, God says, because it was a time of din, very, very serious din at that time. And in order to be able to get the Sitra Achra away from the Jewish people by the Yam Suf, to end the accusation so God could do the miracle, so to speak, because he likes to follow the rules of creation that he created, that the story of Eov begins there. And as a result, in the Shir Shayam, it says, Yemincha Hashem Tiretz Oyev, the right hand of God smashes the enemy, but as the Rizal points out, that the words Tiretz Oyev can be actually rearranged to spell the word Saras Eov, because the Jewish people were given a vision at the Yam Suf that Eov was the reason why they were able to escape, measure for measure, and also the Rizal explains that Eov was also the Gilgul, the reincarnation of Terech, and as a result of that, it was also part of his tikkun to go through what he went through, but it was all measured out, measure for measure perfectly. It's not a case of bad things happening to good people. He's not, unjustified. That really this is the measure for you for pleading the fifth. And according to the Zohar, he actually didn't stay quiet, but rather said, don't kill them, but inflict their bodies and take their money, which is why his body is inflicted and his money was taken away, lost his family, the whole thing. So there's a lot going on this week's Parsha. But one of the most important things in this week's Parsha is the story of the man. And not just because it was heavenly bread, not just because we complained and God gave it to us, but the man actually holds the key to the whole goal of the Jewish people, of everything we're striving to become. That's what the man really is all about. We'll see in a second, Zor Hashem. And had we done the man properly, so to speak, then the Gula would have come, and we would not have been attacked by Amalek. We wouldn't have broken Shabbos, as the Gemara points out in Shabbos, that because the Jewish people didn't keep Shabbos, we're attacked by Amalek as a result of that. But it's more than that, and the connection is so strong that later on, Haman, who was a descendant of Amalek, of course, the word Haman is the word Haman, the man itself. So a lot of very deep connections. Again, this is discussed in my book in detail, Redemption to Redemption, the very deep and intricate connection between the holidays of Purim and Pesach, which you can get online. And one of the most important points that comes out from the parsha itself, in terms of the man itself, understand what the man means to the Jewish people conceptually, in terms of from historical point of view, is actually it comes up from a nuance between two psukim, right? What happens? The Jewish people complain. God promises the man falls. God tells Moshe to tell everybody to collect one umber of man. And that also is very significant, the word Omer itself, in terms of what that means. But and he says, the Torah says over here, right? It says, V'yomer Hashem al Moshe, right? God told Moshe, Hineni, Mamti lechem lechem in Shemayim. I'm going to rain down bread from Shemayim. V'yatza amlatu devar yom b'yomo, and they'll go out and collect it every single day. Laman anasenu hayelech basarasi imlo. So the point of the man was not the food itself. The Torah tells you right here. The point of the man was to test the Jewish people to see if they're going to keep Torah or not. Specifically, Shabbos, we'll find it around by Das Mavirim. They go out and collect the man on Shabbos, or they go looking for it, even though it wasn't there because the birds ate it as part of the master plan. So therefore, there's a minhag to put out food for the birds Erev Shabbos to give them their just dessert, their just reward for having complied with God's plan over here. And this is what the point of the man is, specifically to test the Jewish people. So it may have been food, but that's not the main point of it, right? So it says, V'haya b'yom hashishi, but it's going to be on the sixth day. V'chinu eis asher yaviu, right? You should prepare that which you bring in. V'haya mishna al asher yikol to yom yom. So normally you could only collect one omer of man every single day, but since you cannot collect man on Shabbos, and you need man specifically for Shabbos, so therefore, the Torah is telling, because Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu to tell the Jewish people that that's the one day of the week, Erev Shabbos, that they're going to be able to collect the double portion. They'll collect it, because normally you collect the extra portion, and it rotted, you collected too little, it mystically and Kabbalistically became the full Omer for the person, one Omer per person, but on Erev Shabbos, if you collected 2 Omers of man, the second one didn't rot, because that was, L'chvod Shabbos Kodesh was like a Shabbos in order to make sure that they had food on Shabbos itself, and they should collect and prepare it. So that's what it says. That's what God tells Moshe Rabbeinu to do, right? So what happens? This goes on. They collect the man day after day. It turns out exactly as Moshe said. Anybody who took more than an omer, accidentally, purposely, whatever, so it rotted, and actually a lot of it dissolved into the ground and into the rivers. So the nations of the world were able to taste the man for the rivers themselves, right? And then later on, when it came to time for Erev Shabbos, they actually collected extra, but not. What does the Torah say? The Torah says, right? Moshe was supposed to tell them in advance, but the Torah itself says the following thing: it says V'yi b'yom hashishi, on the 6th day, right? Laktu lechem mishna shnei ha'omer le'echad, right? They were able to collect a double omer for each person. 2 mishna lechem over here, v'yavot, and they were surprised. They came, kol nasi ha'eda v'yagidu leMoshe. So the people came to the Nesiim, and they said to the Nesiim, "What's going on over here?" Right? We went out to the field and we collected, more than normal. And every other day that we had more than normal, we did it accidentally. We didn't know. We did it, but we collected more than normal. And normally the surplus would always rot. But today it's not rotting. The system breaks somehow. Things change. The rules change. We don't know. So they came to the Nesiim, and the Nesiim didn't have answers. They also didn't know because Moshe apparently had not informed them. Right? So they go to Moshe and they say, what's pshat? What's going on over here? How is it possible to collect an extra amount of man and it didn't disappear? So Moshe says, V'yoma aleihim, and Moshe says to them, Hu asher diber Hashem, Shabbason Shabbos Kodesh L'Hashem. That's what Hashem said. The Shabbos is a sanctified day to Hashem, Machar, right, tomorrow. It's a share tofu, efu. What you want to bake, go ahead and bake today of Shabbos. Ve'ez asher tebashlu, bashelu. Whatever you're going to cook, you should cook. Ve'ez kol ha'oidev hanichu. Right, whatever's left over, put aside lechem for yourselves. L'mishmeres adaboke. It will last. It's not going to rot, and you'll have it for Shabbos itself. That's what it says. It says it did exactly that, and ve'inichu also adaboke kasher tziva Moshe v'lohiv ish b'rimah lo haisabo. Right, and just like Moshe promised, it didn't rot the next day on Shabbos. No worms came to infest it. You're not going to find the fields today. It's Shabbos. Sheishes Yamim to Tuhu, right? Till Ketuhu, right? They collected of Yom Shvi, Shabbos Lo Hiebod, and on the seventh day of Shabbos it wasn't found over there. That's what it goes. It talks about a little bit more, over here, and then it says Vahi b'Yom Shvi Yatzu Min Ha'am Lilkot V'Lo Matzu, right? But of course there were the scoffers, Das and Vavirim, primarily Moshe's proverbial thorn in his side. Went out specifically looking for the man to prove that Moshe was a liar with the Medrash. The birds took it away. They didn't find it, right? Who then comments on that remark and says, "V'yomer Hashem el Moshe," right? Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, "Ana me'antam l'shmor mitzvosai v'sorasai." For how long are you not going to believe in me and keep my mitzvahs and my Torah, right? And it's talking to Moshe Rabbeinu.